Welcome to Is Your Way in Your Way podcast, where your host, Cassandra Crawley Mayo, helps you break free from obstacles and live life on your terms. Get ready to embark on a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and inspiration. Tune in as we dive into captivating conversations with experts and explore topics that will ignite your passion and drive. Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Let's dive in.
Good day out there to all my listeners, and I'd like to welcome you to Is Your Way in Your Way podcast. And for those new listeners out there, I'm your host, and my name is Cassandra Crawley Mayo. And also for those new listeners that may not know, the name of my book is titled Is Your Way in Your Way. It's a self-discovery guide for women on how to restore yourself, learn from your experiences so that you may be your true self again. And we talk about topics related to what I say, self-improvement, empowerment, and also to give you an opportunity to reflect on some things that have occurred in your life. And also my prayer has always been that when someone listens to one of my podcasts, they'll all of a sudden pivot and say, you know what? I'm going to get out of my way and I'm going to do something that I've always wanted to do. And so today I have a special guest, and we're going to talk about get unstuck by reclaiming your power. But let me ask you this. What if the reason you feel stuck isn't about fear, but because you gave away your power? You gave it away quill by quill. So today's guests know exactly what that feels like. Deborah Weed went from producing $1 million shows for the world's biggest brands to being bedridden by a devastating misdiagnosis. But her story didn't end there. Out of the ashes, she gave birth to Paisley the Musical, a haute couture Broadway spectacle that's now not just a show, but a call to reclaim your voice, your work, and your dreams. If you ever felt like the world told you to stay small, stay silent, or stay still, this episode will reignite that fire that you have. So let's welcome the powerhouse, the creative visionary, and the spark behind the global self-worth revolution, Deborah Weed. Hi, Deborah.
Hey, Cassandra. Thank you so much. That was awesome. I was like, who was that? Who is it?
I know who is that person. That's right. That's right. Well, I am so happy that you're on the show, and I am looking forward to the insight that you're going to share. And I'm certain there's some things about your story and how you overcame them will resonate with many of my listeners, and that will enable them to, like I said, pivot and say, okay. Now, I want to read a little bit, just a little more about you, because I think this is important. Now, but instead of surrendering to your defeat, you reignited your inner spark and created Paisley the Musical. The Broadway-bound haute couture production dares women to reclaim their creativity, their voice, and self-worth. And we talked about your $1 million production and how you are leading a global movement to help others recover the quills that they have given away, those symbols of identity, purpose, and power. So your story is a living testimony of what happens when you stop dimming your light and start designing your own dreams. Deborah, let me ask you, I want to know about your backstory a bit. And because this information is going to parlay into what we're going to talk about, because I believe it was something in your backstory is the reason why you're doing things in this day and time. So tell us a little about, because you staged the Sticky Bun Bandits as a youth. So that means something was going on. Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, first of all, if you can imagine, I was tremendously sensitive and an empath, as so many women are, or little girls are, right? So
Okay.
when I got older, I was like, I'm going to go corporate. I am going to go show you. You call me sensitive? You have the audacity to call me sensitive? I'll show you. So I became the director of development for Citibank, 19 branches, and worked on a $26 million pavilion for Daejeon, Korea. But When I was there, Cassandra, in the corporate world, taking a sensitive soul and putting it over here, it didn't work. I didn't smile. I didn't smile at all. I wore the corporate outfits and I had the attitude, but this is where my creativity started to call me back.
But let me ask you this before you go further.
Yes,
When
yes.
you were younger, who called you sensitive? Like, where did that come from?
Oh my gosh, everybody, all my
Everybody.
friends, because I was a natural social worker. I was that type of kid that just wanted to make sure that everybody was okay. And by doing that, it was perceived as sensitivity. And I, as a child, at least, wanted to overcome what I thought was a weakness. Now I don't. Now I think it's power. But at the time, it was like, let me get into corporate until I realized I'm an artist. I am an artist in my soul. I love storytelling. My mother, this is kind of like interesting factoid. She was one of the first people in Miami to have a talent agency.
Oh.
So ever since I was 16, I was always coming up with musicals, interactive theatrical things, murder mystery weekends. She would actually put them together, but I was the one creating them ever since I was young.
Wow.
One of the things that recreated with the Sticky Bun Bandits, which was one of my first productions that I ever did, was every single show or musical that I did for children was always for a reason. And the Sticky Bun Bandits, the reason is I wanted to teach little kids about what solutions meant. So every song, every action was to really give them the idea that they could come up with a solution on their own and how empowering that would be.
Wow. For solutions. Wow. That's amazing. So then you went into, like you indicated, you went into corporate.
Yes.
Yeah. And obviously you had a lot of solutions for corporate because you worked alongside Universal Consultants, alongside Disney and that $26 million pavilion. But you're no longer doing that. Why not? What happened?
Well, I had a health challenge that kind of like talk about pivoting.
Yes.
Talk about pivoting. I didn't even have a choice. I went from the top to having being misdiagnosed and in bed for 3 years. And that is what set me on a new course to find myself. I think if that hadn't happened, I would have probably stayed in the realm of corporate because I didn't know at that time period that there was a difference between self-esteem and self-worth. Self-esteem is like, wow, look, I'm the director of Citibank, 19 branches. Isn't that cool? But I'm always thinking about what I've done or what I have to do. And that's what gives me the self-esteem. I learned in bed when you have nowhere to go, but just your creativity or thinking that self-worth is only something that I can say what I'm worth on my own. I'm the only one that can claim that. We always look on the outside for evidence of who we are and validation. And yet it really is an inside job.
I like that. So why does self-esteem, we talked about self-esteem and self-worth, it gets confusing. So why does it matter based on what you said? Why does that matter?
That's a great question. It really matters because as long as you're on the self-esteem train, right? You're trying to produce things. You're trying to go, sometimes you're trying to go above and beyond who you even are. So you might not even be doing your soul's calling. You might be so interested in the self-esteem so that you could say, look at what a good job I did or do, that you totally forget who you are. That's what
Okay.
But self-worth, on the other hand, is going back to who you are naturally as a child.
Okay.
Who are you? I, being sensitive, was an artist and a little social worker. I wanted to make sure everybody was okay. And here I go, corporate. Now, I was good. I was really
good, right?
I was so good, but I'm too invested in inspiring people rather than getting to the bottom line of business. And those two things, at least for me, didn't meet my personality or suit my personality.
Right. So it took something, a trial, a tribulation or something for you to somewhat pivot, and a lot of us are doing things that we're okay with, but we know that's really not who we are. And then you think about the part when people say, oh, she has low self-esteem. Do they have low self-esteem because they're not doing what they are ordained to do, you think? Because you hear that a lot. Her self-esteem, you don't hear a lot about self-worth as you're talking about it. Okay.
You just hit the nail on the head, and let's put an exclamation point on that, because that is exactly correct. When we're saying to somebody, wow, that person doesn't have self-esteem, that's exactly what we're saying. We're saying that they can't prove how competent, what their worth is, because they're not doing anything.
Right, exactly. What their worth is and what they're currently doing. So that's what you're saying sounds like that constitutes some low self-esteem. Right.
Well, when I was in bed, I had horrible self-esteem because I had gone from the tops of the mountains, to despair. Yeah. But that's where I had to find out what self-worth was. I had to find out a lot of new definitions I didn't know. I'll give you another one that I discovered there. I didn't know that healing, when I looked up the word heal, it means whole. And what I mean by that is most of us try to get away from the parts we don't like about ourselves. So I don't like my anger. I don't like my frustration. I don't like my sadness. I'm going to shove that down, and I'm going to make that as if it doesn't exist. Have I healed? Am I whole?
Yes, that's good. Wow. Okay. So you were bedridden for how long?
3 years.
Okay. For 3 years. While you were bedridden, you said that you did a lot of thinking, soul searching. What happened to get you out of that bedridden state? Because you sound like you got up and you'd start doing things that you knew that you were somewhat born to do. And a lot of it maybe had to do with when you grew up.
Ready to design your dream life? Join Cassandra Crawley Mayo's Create and Design Your Best Life workshop. Break free from self-doubt and obstacles and step into a life of purpose and fulfillment. Click the link in the description to register now. Don't wait. Spaces are limited. Start living your best life today.
When you get misdiagnosed, and especially with what happened with me, I had doctors giving me all kinds of diagnoses that were incorrect. I had been in excruciating pain, Cassandra, excruciating pain. I couldn't move. I was weak. And one doctor would say, you have MS. Then the next doctor said you had Lou Gehrig's. Then the next doctor said it was all in my head. Now, I am a very smart person, have been in corporate, and now I'm not being heard. Talk about power being taken away. My
Yeah.
power was like, somebody took it and ran, and it felt like I had nothing left. So
Wow.
during that time period when I was in bed, I also had something else that transpired. And I think it happens to so many women. And that is that because I had no definitive doctors, 3 of them, 2 of them saying the same thing. Every single one of them was saying something different. My family and friends also abandoned me. So now I don't have the support system. I don't have the doctors. I don't have anybody. And
Right.
my rescuer was a penny and
Oh,
creativity.
okay. A penny. A penny.
A
One.
penny. A
Okay.
penny saved my life, literally.
Okay.
So I learned while I was in bed that there's a penny that could be worth $1 million. This is true. This is not made up. A 1943 pure copper penny could be worth $1 million. So I'm thinking to myself, look, if people won't even bend over to pick up a penny because they think it's worthless,
Right.
then what am I worth? If I think I'm that penny that nobody's going to pick up,
Yeah.
what kind of self-worth do I have? And the penny was made by mistake. Usually they used to put steel into a penny, like in the middle of it. But
Okay.
these pennies were pure copper. 15 of them got through the process. And that's what makes them so valuable. So that got me started as the founder of the Self-Worth Initiative. And my first book and musical from, after the Citibank and the professional stuff was to teach young children what self-worth meant through the eyes of a penny. And in that creativity and in that process, my mind stopped being focused on solving the problem, because I think my biggest addiction my entire life has been trying to solve a problem that's
solutions
solvable and go to people who don't listen and want to speak up louder, realizing that was not working.
Okay, because in the beginning, like you indicated, the sticky bun bandits,
Yes.
that was all about solutions.
It was all
right?
about solutions.
Right.
It was all about in Sweetland, there's an ant, and he comes to Whipplesnacker and the grandkids because the sticky bun bandits are making sticky buns and taking all the sugar from Sweetland. And it's a full storyline where the kids have to figure out. And it's the music was amazing. We did it everywhere, but the kids have to figure out when the sticky bun bandits use the dough to make a wall, so that Whipplesnacker and his grandkids and the big ant can't get in there. Then they have to come up with a solution of how they'd be able to do it. And every kid did, and every adult didn't.
Okay, that was a solution.
Yeah,
wow.
Solution. So it's like, so if I was asking your audience, let's take a second, or your listeners. Right. Okay, so there's this wall of dough. There's a sticky bun bandits inside, and the Whipplesnacker and Big Ant and his grandchildren need to get in. How would they do it?
How would they do it? Wow. So what you say, everybody figured out the solution eventually.
Yeah. The answer is that they'd eat their way through. And that's how the kids get it. And they, just loved it. But when you hear the music and you understand how much of an impact, it was just like a fun way to teach solutions to young kids. And then the next one with a penny, a fun way to teach self-worth to kids and their families.
Okay. So the music, you think, has a lot to do with retaining their learning, or it enables them to be more creative, you think? What is this about music? Because you've done musicals.
Subconscious. It's subconscious programming. Think about I don't know if you've gone to Wicked. I don't know if you've gone to any musical or anything that you love. How often when you're in a problem do you sing Defying Gravity? You know, how often do those songs that are imprinted in your mind, if I tell you, well, you know what, Cassandra, this is what self-worth is. And let me tell you, you know, mentally, you'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever. And it's not going to retain. If I give you musical and story and you go on a journey, guess what? You're going to be singing those songs over and over if you love them, if they're fun, and these were. So you're going to be thinking about it over and over and over again, and you're reprogramming your brain without even knowing it. Instead of being like, I love to inspire. That's my favorite thing to do. And I do feel like I can do that on my own with my own voice. But trust me, when you are, you know, when you're laughing and then crying and then singing, it actually changes the cellular, you know, components of your body.
Wow. That could be why I was so in love with the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
I used to love the Wizard and know all the songs. And that's wow. I'm dating myself, but I love the Wizard of Oz and still do.
I have a big thing in my place that has the Wizard of Oz and the ruby slippers and everything else. I mean, Paisley the musical, when we get there, I'm wanting to have that same kind of effect where it's just like, but mine is in with you, because it's all about reclaiming power. Yeah. The next chapter, the Paisley chapter, is all about reclaiming power.
Okay. So you said that your thing is you like to inspire individuals. Did that inspire? Well, let me say this. You had a few life-changing incidents in your life, but yet each time you bounce back. Like, for example, the precipice that got you up was you had a tumor. That was one of the things that when you were bedridden, they found it. And then another thing is there was a needle that's supposed to have gone in a vein. I could be wrong, but yet they stuck it in your arm by mistake, right? As opposed to the vein. And then the COVID, your father passed. So we're talking about inspiration, and the title of this is Get Unstuck by Reclaiming Your Power. Right? So through all those incidents, what was it that got you unstuck? Well, let me ask you this. When you were young, you were sensitive.
Yes.
All right.
Still am.
Okay. But what that quill to quill, what is your power?
Oh, my superpower is creativity. My superpower is, I feel like, imagine this. Imagine that when we have a lot of stuff that's happened, trauma in our lives, that it's like that boulder, right? So it's a big, gigantic boulder. And sometimes we're pushing it down. We don't want it to be seen because we're going after the self-esteem. Yes. When you are creativity comes from the divine, let's call it. And it's almost as if it comes in from up top, and it's almost like water that smooths away that boulder. And you're no longer focusing on how to solve the problem. You're now focusing on how to express the energy, the unbelievable energy that's flowing through us. And I have found for myself that so many times, every time that I have fallen down, usually unusual health scenarios, it would take somebody down and they might never get up. If you look at with the vein thing, what happened is they were giving me gadolinium. Gadolinium is like a contrast. It's almost like mainlining mercury, but instead of hitting my vein, they actually put it in my arm. My arm's swole. It's in my body, and I'm, but each time a new story came up. Each time a new purpose came up. Each time, like I'm now, Cassandra, I am now at the point, there's no holds barred. I'm not afraid of anything. I can go for a Broadway musical, a Broadway bound musical, and all heart. I don't have the big budget. This is all heart. Yeah. I have nothing to fear.
Wow.
Once you've gone through and stood up over and over and over again, it's almost like, okay, What's going to scare me about talking to anybody that I perceive is better than me after what I've gone through?
Yeah.
This is a piece of cake.
Yeah. And the beauty of the things that you've gone through, where everybody on this that's listening has been through something.
Yes.
And if they have not, then I always say live on, because you will. But you had something whereas you bounced back. What enabled you to bounce back? Because I have individuals listening that, gone through things, but yet they're still mulling over it. They're still ruminating over it. What was it that had you to bounce back?
Okay, I'm going to answer that question, but then I want to circle back to something you said. It was my dad. I had a very sage dad who was so creative in how he explained things to me. And that's another one of my superpowers. For example, for the people that you just mentioned, I felt like that many times. And my dad said to me, Deborah, you know what? Disappointment is the quasi emotion that takes people down every time. And I'm going to tell you why. He said, the reason why is because when you're excited, like I'm working on something, I'm really excited about what it is. I've got adrenaline in my body. I've got endorphins in my body. I am so excited. It's chemicals. I'm a walking chemical factory, right? But when I hit a wall, all the feel-good chemicals leave my body.
Yeah.
And when they leave my body, I'm not conscious of it. I call it failure, but it's really a chemical reaction or chemical depletion. But I don't know it. So I get back up and I try again. And I've got all the feel-good chemicals going on. And I'm like, okay, this time I got it.
Yeah.
And I hit the wall again. And guess what happens? All those feel-good chemicals get depleted. And when they get depleted, if this happens enough times, we in society say you failed, or you're a failure, or it's never going to work, or whatever, because we want to protect ourselves from the chemical reaction.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, well, Dad, if that's the case, how do you overcome that? What do you do?
I know.
And he said to me, this is where it's the fake it until you make it. Because if you understand that this is just that the reason you don't want to ever try again, is just because you don't like the depletion of the chemicals, then at least you can try again, because at least you know. So my dad was my super weapon, I guess you would call it, because he would always come up with, I've got so many of these quirky things that he told me that I had never heard before. And it's like, wow, that is so true.
Wow. I like that. You're right, because like you said, some of them can't get up, or you fight it because you don't like the way it makes you feel, but what your dad said, it sparked something in you, especially when things got tough.
Yes.
You really remember the things that your dad shared with you.
Oh, yeah. And I'll tell you the best one. You tell me when to say it, and I'll tell you another one, because this one I think is really powerful for any listener.
Okay, well, I want to hear it now.
Okay. So when I was in despair in bed, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, Cassandra, I'm one of these people. I'm kind of like a natural muse. I can see somebody, I see their talent, and I'm able to help them fly. And I had helped so many of my friends fly, and yet I'm in bed. And I come to my dad in total despair going, how could this happen? How could I want to do such good in my life? All I want to do is good. Yes. And then I'm in bed, stuck in pain, not knowing what's wrong. And all my friends are out there living their best lives because I helped him. I'm not saying it's because of me, but I was a good champion, a good cheerleader. Yeah. So he said to me, okay, Deborah, go get a bowl of water and some food dye. And I'm like, Dad, I just told you I'm in despair. And you're asking me to get a bowl of water? What is this? But I did as he said because I know him well. So I get the water and he tells me, take the food dye. I picked blue, of course. I want you to put some food dye in there. I put in 2 or 3 drops. And he said, now I want you to go ahead and stir it. So now I'm stirring the water and it's all blue. And he says to me, okay, my daughter, now what I want you to do is I want you to get those 3 drops of blue that you put in the bowl. And I'm like, Dad, it's impossible.
Yeah.
And he's like, exactly. It's impossible. Every time you encouraged somebody or made a difference in their life, there's 3 drops of you in that person. So you might think that you're lying in bed, but you're saving the world. You're doing your thing because every person who you've touched or inspired has that part of you in them. And it's impossible to take that out. And every person who's touched your life, it's the same thing.
I love that. I love that. That was beautiful. Thanks, Dad, right?
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing because you're right. You can't, yeah. Wow. That was a powerful statement, I tell you. So as you indicated, you think about things your dad said will come back to you in many instances, and that will reignite you based on things you've been through, right?
Totally. Yes.
Okay. That's good. Now, let me talk about your power, reclaiming your power. You know what your power is. There are listeners, even though we have this as reclaiming your power, is not sure. How did you know your power, whereas that may help somebody listening get to know what theirs is and hold it and recognize it and claim it?
Well, okay, so I have to go a little bit into Paisley and a little bit in the musical so that I can swing back to that, because I always think in metaphor. That's just how I roll. And I needed a character that would really show what giving one's power away would be. And for me, it was a porcupine. And the reason why is because porcupines, usually they put their back to the world, right? They put their quills up to protect themselves. But what about if you have a porcupine who dreams of being a fashion designer? But in the animal fashion world, she has to use her quills as pins to pin up the couture designs of a couture diva.
Yeah.
And she's giving away her quills until she's down to her last quill. So I needed that metaphor to really show that we are the only ones. Nobody can take our power from us. Nobody. It's impossible. We are the ones that give our quills away or our power, either because we have something that we need to prove or we do it out of love.
Okay.
And that is like a big distinction. So usually we give away our power because we want something in return. But here's the danger sign. I hope everybody can hear me right now. Please hear me so you don't have to go through some of this stuff I have.
Yeah.
The more you lose your power, the louder you get talking to people who can't hear you.
Break that down for us.
Write that down. I don't know where to write it down, but
I said break it down. Break it down.
Break it down.
Understand it. Yeah.
So what I mean is this. We're the only person. Let's say that we're in a relationship.
Yeah.
And we feel unloved, unsupported, whatever. So now we are going to take our quills or our power, and we're going to do one of two things, or maybe things, but I'm going to mention two. Okay. One is we're going to try harder. We're going to be sweeter. We're going to give more. we're going to do everything that we can to entice the person.
Okay.
Another thing we're going to do potentially is we're going to give anger just because it's not working out, because we've been misunderstood, because things aren't going right. But we're literally taking a piece of ourselves and trying to like do something with that power, and we're literally giving it away, because a lot of times with the person we're in relationship with, they might be the reason we're giving our power away so much because we're not feeling heard, right? We're not feeling understood. We're not feeling loved. And so we're giving more to try to compensate. And at the end of the day, we might be left with one quill. I'll give you another example that might be easier. You have a boss who's, really tough, and they say, I know it all. I've got it all. And you don't. You know nothing. So once again, we're trying to overcompensate to meet their expectation rather than know our power and make a choice of where to put it.
Because if not, our energy's drained.
So, and our quills are gone until we're down to the last quill going, well, I stood for everybody else. I helped everybody else. Where are the people to help me? And then that's where, at least for me, there's been tremendous sorrow to realize that I did it to myself.
Right. It's kind of like, and I'll use this little analogy. Many of my listeners are aware that when I was in corporate, I actually grew up during the civil rights movement, and I became what some people call tokens. I was hired because I was I was Black.
Oh, really?
And not so much that I was qualified. And so I climbed the corporate ladder, even though I was able to do the job. But what I did, because that's what people thought, I gave away my power, overcompensating to prove that I was qualified, and I got burned out.
Exactly. That is exactly what I'm saying.
Right. So what you're saying is, you know your worth.
Yes.
So you don't have to prove anything. Just do you.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Yes. I like that. Yeah. That's amazing. That is amazing. So that's why you say reclaim it. That's why you talk about the penny. Penny's worth millions. You know? Right. Claim it. Know that. And I tell you, I have a friend that collects pennies, and whenever he sees a penny, he saves it. He keeps it. And the reason he keeps it, because it says, "In God we trust."
That's what I know. Me too. Me too. I'm so glad you said
that energy just rises and like, okay, God and I, the divine and I, are connected. And that just brings him life. So I get it. And I know my listeners are now, based on the metaphors you use, the analogy, that they're getting it. So no need for low self-esteem. Just demonstrate your worth.
Exactly. Know your worth.
Yeah, know your worth.
Because here's another thing, Cassandra. Just anybody can think of this, and it will immediately. It's my favorite. One of my favorite metaphors. Think of Picasso. Think of Picasso. If you went to your child's school and it was hanging up there, would you think it was done by a child? Like a lot of the faces,
absolutely. Yes.
It's just
beautiful.
And he said it's worth $1 million. And guess what?
And it is.
We're paying $1 million. Who determined that? If he had said this is worth $2, all I did was go, then that's where your worth is. And it's so hard to claim it. It's so hard to say, you know what? I'm not going to define myself by the way the world sees everything. I am going to say, I am worth $1 million. Yeah, I could be a penny. I'm worth $1 million. I can give my power. I don't have to give away my power. Yeah, I'm a porcupine with quills up. I'm ready to reclaim everything that I have.
Mm,
yeah.
that's beautiful, because when that energy rises, it kind of helps you understand that power. It comes to you, like you said, when you went through all those incidents, that's when the divine said, "Oh, I got something else for you, girl." Yeah, yeah. That's why that the Paisley, the musical, oh, that is simply beautiful. For my listeners, those pictures, oh, they're breathtaking. So not only, so you, in other words, you're like that self-worth to me is a movement.
It is.
And yeah, and that's what Paisley's going to do to the world.
Yes, I'm still in development. So the
Yeah, I
picture,
know.
but the thing is that at the end of the day, I want people to walk out and actually get, oh, I experientially understand how to reclaim my power through the eyes of this porcupine in
Yes.
this, because I've done a children's book,
Yes.
Paisley Glass Quill. I
Yeah.
illustrated, I did it. It was a tremendous success. But all the moms were saying, what about me? I like that better than they do, because
Right.
I need to take my quills back. And so this is like in the realm of Wicked or The Lion King. It's a
Right.
magical realism that
Yeah.
will appeal to all ages and just hopefully knock their socks off. The music, by the way, is gorgeous. A couple of people in my inner circle, I had them hear it, and even with the first song, they were crying. And these are some powerful women. So this is not like, I know to trust that.
Well, I tell you, this is why it's interesting, and I'm going to say this because I could talk to you all day, but we can't.
Yes.
Another way that I look at things, and I'm looking at your life, I don't know all that happened, but I know enough that you've been, it's just a lot that's been going on. And I really think it was something that someone was hopeful that it would stop you from the movement that you're going to do. And I applaud you that creativity is in you for a reason. And it's kind of like whatever was stopping you, ain't no stopping you now. I don't care what's going on in your life. There's no stopping. So I just want you to keep it moving. And I'm going to look for that musical because I want to see it. The pictures are breathtaking for me, and I wish I could show them. But I love that movement to inspire individuals to start reclaiming their power. Based on all that's going on now, this is a time that is needed. And I thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. We're gonna have to wrap up. And I just wanted to know another thing. I read something about you, and I was so on it. How one can also express themselves through their unique fashion.
Yes.
And that connected with the porcupine, the paisley, and all of that. So, it's kind of like I got this quiz the other day, and somebody wanted to, if you want to be an individual that don't want to look old, how would you want me to dress you, right? Yeah. And it's amazing. And I'm like, well, I don't really think I need that because I have my own style, and I'm okay with who I am. It's not about self-esteem. It's about self-worth. So that it reminds me of that, but that is so true how one can express themselves through their own fashion.
And we're judged by it. That's why I picked that word. The body positivity, all the things that women go through that men don't have to encounter. And sometimes we put on the dress, but it's what's underneath.
Exactly. And inside, you're so right on. Thank you. So listen, we're going to wrap up. And my listeners, man, I know you got a lot of nuggets from this conversation. And I would like for you to share this podcast with someone that is struggling with low self-esteem or not even sure what their power is, and help them reclaim it because that's going to be the energy to get them to start doing whatever they were stuck with. Because whatever you were stuck with is something trying to stop you from moving forward for you to give to the world what you were here and created to do. Powerful, powerful. So, Deborah, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And listeners, again, like I always say, bye for now. God bless. And again, Deborah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you've been enjoying our empowering conversations, make sure you don't miss out on future episodes of Is Your Way in Your Way podcast. Stay in the loop with all the latest episodes. Join our mailing list over at CassandraCrawley.com. And before you go, hit that like button, share with your friends, and subscribe now. Until next time, let's get ready to live your best life.